Hello, sir. Good morning. Am I audible, sir?
Hello.
Hi, Anne.
Hi, Priya. Hi, Aaron.
Hi.
Priya,
Hello, sir. Aaron, sir, you muted yourself. Can you please unmute?
yeah. So is
Hello,
Pat joining us? Do you know?
I think so. She said
Yeah.
that time suited her. Yeah.
Yeah, she did say that she was coming. So suppose we can
Yeah.
wait for her.
Sounds like a good idea.
Mm-hmm. How are you, John?
Not dead yet.
Good, good.
We
Yeah,
don't
it's
want
beautiful.
more decades.
Yeah, lovely. So
Thank
pretty
you.
much-
Thanks, sir, for setting up this meeting, and thanks to you, professors, for meeting me after a long, long break.
Oh, so Pat is
Priya,
here.
it's nice to see your face, Priya. I'm
Yeah.
glad you're
Thank you.
still with us.
Ah, yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
All right. Okay, so Pat is joining us, and
Recording in progress.
yeah, is it okay if we record the session?
Yeah.
Fine by me.
Okay. Fair enough.
Pat, do you have video or are you staying anonymous?
Oh, let's put it this way. I've got to work out how to actually start it. Hold on.
Ah,
there we are.
there we go.
Good.
Wonderful. All right, so off we go. So what do we want to discuss today? I think Priya had a few questions in terms of finishing up, and we'll touch those, but I think over to you, Priya, for what questions you have, and then we can have a discussion around the steps going forward. Is that all right? And
Yes.
John,
Yeah, it's
Good.
fine. with me.
Yes, I think Priya should have the floor. Yep.
yeah.
Thank you all for giving me this opportunity. Actually, I was looking forward from a very long time. And now that it's come to a little closer end, I wanted to ask you questions. I just start with chapter 1. This may sound a little silly, but as a student, it appears as a big matter for me. I'll just start from the chapter wise. As I'm doing. So first I start, I just wanted to know what is your opinion about this entire writing aspect of my work? Is it for submission or does it need any more?
Well, I think it's a complex question, so I'd rather defer it to John and Pat before I can add my comments. Over to you, John.
I think it's reached us. I'm trying to remember when we last saw chapter 5, but the rest of it I think is definitely submittable now as and examinable. That would be my view. Am I right in thinking that we haven't that the chapter 5 is a bit behind the others, or am I still waiting? Am I still waiting for that?
Yeah, I haven't seen it recently.
And Anne, what would you want to tell Anne about your chapters, all the other chapters and 5?
Oh,
I think the rest are fine.
yeah.
Anne?
Yeah.
Okay, one of the
What I-
things, Priya, before we go ahead, one of the things that we've been insisting for some time now is it's always a good idea to take a look at a whole rather than chapters one by one, because what you really want to see is how does the entire big picture look like. So you start with chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you want to see the summary and all of it as it stands, you see. So at the moment we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, which have been seen and probably corrected by the copy editor, or the proofreader, or we haven't seen chapter 5. And that's a question that we've been asking, because chapter 6 is a rather short chapter, which I understand that chapter 5 would be a discussion chapter, isn't it correct?
Yes. So this is where my doubts were about chapter 5. Chapter 5, as I've read it many times, and I'm reading that it has a lot of results compiled in it. And what I remembered discussing with Anne earlier was, unlike an article which just summarizes about findings and comparison of the findings, a thesis has to be a detailed discussion of what the study was and how it was. So to compare that, we definitely get the results in the discussion chapter. So it had made it little confusing. Now I have reduced most of the things. I have revised chapter 5, and earlier it was like bits here and there. It was not giving that. The narrative was not a flow of for what it was designed and what it is giving. Now I have not remodified, but reduced a lot of things and put the narrative. That's what I want to send you all. Chapter 5 is the one which is pending. I was thinking whether you would wanted to have a look at it or not because of the time. I will send it today, sir, chapter 5.
I'm still a little confused now. So I thought that the deadline was that you had to submit the whole thing by the end of the month.
Yep, 29th practically is the deadline, because 30th, I understand, is a Saturday. So 29th, 5 p.m. is probably the best that you can do. Of course, I mean, the university is not going to make a fuss, but they're not going to, die on the cross if Priya submits on the 30th of April. But that said, I think it's in the right honors that you submitted on the 29th. So Anne, you're right on there.
Yes.
So will you have time to read the draft and by 29th?
I don't think so, Priya. I think normally what we do is we, all four of us read the draft, and that takes a long time. I don't think it's realistic for the four of us to read another chapter. So my feeling was that you were going to relocate sections from chapter 5 and put them into the new chapter 6, which you've done. And I think that's a good chapter. That's a good conclusion chapter that draws everything together with recommendations. So I'm not sure. I mean, what do the others think? Because
Anne, you make a good point, and I think that this thesis will hang together if you change chapter 6 to chapter 5 and keep that. It's a very nice chapter. Chapter 6 is very nice. You've given us the original setup, you've given us the data collection, you've given us the results. I think that your best, Anne and Aaron and Pat, you've got a comment here, but my thought is that if it was chapters 1 through 5, that is 1 through 4 plus 6, now 5, I think that's a submittable thesis. I would not think you would be embarrassed, nor would we, by that. Anne?
yes, and my worry about a new chapter 5 is that because there are four of us looking at the chapter, and then you've got to look at it, and then someone's got to proofread it, it really means that you'd be wanting each of us to do that within a day in the time we've got left.
Actually, it is not a new chapter, and it's a chapter that you have already seen.
Yes,
But
I know that, and you've taken sections of it out and put it into chapter 6. So my feeling was that if you had followed Aaron's suggestions and basically followed Aaron's suggestion, which is basically reading what everybody's suggested and then accepting all the changes,
Yeah, that's
then would we need to read chapter 5?
Can I just comment that I mean, I actually wasn't expecting to see the chapters again after we had sent, Aaron had sent our last one when we did look at, I think, the whole lot.
We did.
Yeah.
So as I remember what's in chapter 5, I mean, there was a lot of sort of comparison with other studies, and so I think it's important to retain what's in chapter 5, actually,
Okay.
rather than, just say that chapter 6 becomes chapter 5.
Okay. Fine.
On a personal level, I'm actually disappearing to the West Coast tomorrow, so
Okay. So
you can't.
anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
okay. So what I'm hearing is this, that we have already seen chapter 5 at least once, and we have given a stamp on it to say that it is good to go as the final one. As long as you have accepted the track changes, then it's done. And then you have given us chapter 6, which has been seen and blessed by the 4 of us. So if you append chapter 6 to chapter 5, and then put everything as a whole, and then work on the thesis to make it as a one thing, then you're pretty much done with your thesis. Because remember that after April, it will be between you and the examiners. It will be them who will be then calling the shots, and then we will be convening again in about a couple of months or 3 months' time to discuss what they have told us and what you're going to tell them in terms of the questions and answers. So as long as we are happy and satisfied that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you put it as a whole and be done with it. Remember that a done thesis is the only thing that we're looking for at this stage. How does that sit with everyone?
okay.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you mean to say that the 5 chapter, the comments that I got last time and the inline editing, I accept and I submit it together. That's what you mean, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And make sure that you read it carefully, remove all the comments inline and the comments, because sometimes it goes for some amusing and quite frustrating experience for the person who's reading with the comments and everything else. So give it a good shot and good reading, and then clean it up and do it. How about that?
Okay. Okay. I'll just a moment. I will just share my screen to say where the change has taken place in chapter 5, so that it will give an idea of what is the change. I'll just share my screen. Is the screen visible, sir?
Yeah.
Chapter 6. It's chapter 5. So this remains the introduction to this chapter remains the same. And except that I thought this was a repetition and it was not needed, the objectives.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Then
And if you
I
want
have,
to refer to them, you can just refer back to that section in your thesis
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
rather than repeating them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I tell about the importance of the socio-demographic factors and the socio-economic factors that make this participants high risk for oral cancer. Should this research question, should it be like this? Are the socio-demographic characteristics of the dental attend is indicative of high risk for oral cancer, or I should just write the socio-demographic and economic characteristics. I need not tell that it is indicative of high risk, or should I mention it?
I think we can leave that up to you.
Okay. So here, as you suggested, I have taken in only those which were statistically significant, such as the gender, the place of residence, the education, and the socioeconomic status and the caste, all of which, when compared with the other studies, indicate that these specific groups are at high risk for oral cancer.
Mhm.
Then coming on to the prevalence, this is the lengthiest part, which here I don't compare much with the other studies. I compare with the GATS and the National Family Health Survey, and state that compared to these, the prevalence is higher among the dental attendees. And also I talk about individual characteristics of these of the people with the habits. Then how the dual and poly users accumulates the risk, and I have elaborated on the types of the products, because one of the objectives was to elaborate on the types which are important, that needs to be addressed as a primary preventive measure concomitant with screening, which are not present in the current national surveys such as GATS and Family Health Survey. So, and then I have given the number of products. I don't know, should we read? I felt it is important to retain all this, though it appears little bigger. It gives an understanding of the risk status of the Indian tobacco users.
Yep, that's fine.
Then the proportion of the screen participants, should we keep this as what proportion of screen participants are at high risk for oral cancer, or should we just mention it as a detection rate?
Priya, can I ask you a question? This you have put in the in the discussion section, but typically these are kind of questions that people put in results section. Now, I think it's too late for us to make major changes. And
no, sir, it's not major change. It is that in the discussion, is the has the study answered the research questions?
Yeah. Yeah, I would, now that you're asking about the questions, I would just put just put a description of rather than a question.
yes, I think that's how most people would do it, because these are kind of the things that you have already probably discussed in your results chapter.
Yeah.
And so what you need to do in the discussion section is to start with a highlighting the most important findings from your research, and then you start launching into so what if, that sort of a thing in your discussion chapter, rather than a rehash and repetition of everything that you found. That is how I have seen most people have done things. Of course, you know, your mileage may vary, but that's how people have done it. But of course, I mean, remember that at this stage, do not make major changes, because it's going to mess up everything.
Yes, that's my concern as well. I'm worried that you can tell. I'm worried about the time that you've got left, Priya.
Absolutely. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, this is a time when you will be looking at the entire thesis, tidying up the bits and pieces, making a good presentation overall. Now is not the time to focus on individual chapters anymore, line by line, paragraph by paragraph. Don't do that.
I agree with that completely. I think that we've all read chapter 5, so I don't think you should make any more major changes to that, apart from what you've done already. You've taken sections of that and made it into a new chapter 6, and that's a really good summary chapter. But now you've really only got a few days, and so I think the focus needs to be on tidying the whole thing up into one document so that it's ready to submit.
Yes, and I have done that. And the only addition was the advantages over previous studies. Here, there would be one paragraph which says that that is the only additional paragraph which says that in addition to demonstrating the feasibility of conducting an opportunistic screening program in dental colleges, the study has also shown that by providing such a screening program, the demographic and the socio-economic inequalities that exist in preventive care or in healthcare can be addressed.
A worthy point, but you also address it in chapter 6.
Example one was I had given a separate section of gender, how it would address the gender issues. So instead of giving us one separate paragraph, I brought them consolidated into one paragraph before the advantages to say that how one is gender, how women who get an opportunity there, and how the socio-economically weaker section get an opportunity there because of their higher representation. And the outreach clinics, which I have not discussed elsewhere, the importance of the outreach clinic. But with this, there is universal health coverage, which can happen only with the population-based cancer screening, can happen as opportunistic screening in dental colleges. So there is one paragraph which tells this.
Fine by me. I think just clean up chapter 5, make sure all the comments are gone, make sure that you've got all the right references to the tables and figures elsewhere. Perhaps turn the passage heads into statements rather than questions, and be ready to roll it all up.
Yeah.
Priya, also, it can sometimes help just having someone else looking at it, and I don't mean academics, I mean someone, because yours is easy to understand for a lay person, but if you've got family that are interested and able to read it, it's actually quite a useful thing for someone else to actually look at it. And they can sometimes look at it with a completely different perspective and pick up some odd anomalies. So again, that's really if you've got someone in your family or something like that who you think might be able to contribute in that way, that can be quite useful.
I believe part of that has been done by the proofreader who was going through this, isn't it, Janet?
Actually, Janet told me that.
Yeah.
Janet told me that because the thesis is thesis which is to be examined, she will not read it as a whole. She will only do inline sentences and the grammars. So she will not read the thesis as a whole because this is to be examined, and she will not read it. I will.
Priya, I think you are being over anxious. I think you've done a lot of work. You've found some really important things. I think you're delivering good work. I think it is now just to tidy up and submit.
Yeah.
Yes, that's pretty much it, Priya. There's nothing more that we can add to it at this moment. Definitely, we won't, at least I won't recommend that we do anything more than that. Just tidy up things, put it into a proper format and make it ready. Yeah, it's like dressing the bride now.
Okay, sir.
And-
I have done it, sir. I will. What I thought was. I thought I will. You may not have time to read, but at least a satisfaction that you read the chapter. Even if you give me late comments after Saturday is also fine. Sir, can I submit by Sunday?
Priya, we're not going to read it again.
No.
We are now leaving it back up to you. We have read every one of the chapters. We have read them more than once. We've read the thing as a whole. We think it comes to a nice, honestly, your final chapter is now very impressive. And I am happy for this to be submitted to examiners. I think this is a defensible piece of work. And I would just recommend to you that you stop being anxious, finish it in a technical way, and submit it.
Okay.
That's the final word, Priya. It can't be clearer than this.
Okay, sir.
No Saturday, no Sunday, Friday, 5 p.m., New Zealand time. Go for it. Can you do it?
Friday, 5 p.m. Today is Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday. You got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Make it ready. Submit it. Done.
Okay. Okay, sir. Friday I will.
That's your Shiva Mood. That's your Shiva Lagna, right? That's when you go to the temple. Then go to the temple, offer prayer to your favorite deity, and be done with it. How about that?
Thanks, sir.
Good.
I wanted to tell that I will be back to New Zealand. I know it is. I don't know if it is a right choice, but I got an email from the international student. I got an email from the Immigration New Zealand. Then I contacted the international student advisor, and they said that I can't travel back once I submit because the whole immigration thing gets stopped and the visa gets stopped, and I can't travel once I make a submission as a student. I will no longer be a student eligible to travel. So if I want to travel, I have to be there before this. I felt I wanted to take a photo with Anne, which I have always longed. It may sound very silly, but that's in the core of my heart. And I want to take a photo with the supervisory team if we don't have the restriction on my exam day. I wanted to, because I traveled this journey, I wanted to have a photo memorable with you all. So it sounds very silly, but
okay, thank you, Priya. Thank you for your kind suggestions, but you need to understand that your supervisory team, even in New Zealand, is scattered all over the 2 islands. So if you really want to take a photo in real time, unless you defy Newton's principle of a person can be in two places at the same time, it's probably not going to happen. But that said, let me explain what happens from now on.
Here's what you could do, Aaron, is you could put, if you like, Priya, you can simply put all of us on screen at the same time and just take a screenshot. That's at least gets you there part of the way.
Yeah,
a brilliant idea.
That's a great idea. We can do that. We certainly can.
No, I want to come, sir. I want to come because I abruptly came out, and I don't want to miss. I want to come, so I will either make the submission and come, or not a day before the submission. I'm looking at the tickets as well for tomorrow or day after, something like that. Even today is fine. My husband has also accepted. Because I have professionally declined because of my health. I don't know how much of professional work I will do after this. I want to
hold on a second, Priya, hold on a second. I mean, you mean that you want to jump on a plane and then arrive in New Zealand before Friday and meet with us? Is that what you mean?
not meet with you. I will make a submission on Friday after coming there.
Well, you don't need to do that, Priya. Let me try to explain what happens now. Work on your thesis now, put it into one piece as one single document, have it in the form of both a Word document and a PDF. And then there are a number of paperworks that needed to be done, and we will be doing it. And I will be sending you those paperworks for you to complete. So please do not get yourself into a bind of traveling anywhere.
Is this paperwork apart from the 2 documents that are there on
yes,
the
there are paperwork that needed to be done, and we are working on that. Now,
Okay.
after you submit it on Friday, what will happen is this, that the University of Canterbury's postgraduate office will then send your document to 2 examiners. We have identified one of them, Professor Polly Newcomb at the University of Washington at Fred Hutch, and the other person that we have not been able to identify that person. Most likely he's going to be Martin Lee, but if Martin declines, then we'll have to find out somebody else. That does not have to be decided immediately. However, the university will email your thesis, the electronic version of it, to the 2 examiners, and they will get 3 months between now of the time when you submit and then provide the reports. Now, we believe, the 4 of us believe, that you have done a job that is good enough for most people to come to a point where they'll say that, all right, Priya will be awarded a doctorate. However, in all these situations, they will recommend amendments, which means that at the end of the 3-month period, the examiners will recommend several changes and ask you several questions, at which point your PhD is not over yet. This is just one phase of it. And then they will call you for an oral examination. We will have to identify an oral chair for your exam. And what you will do is you will have to then engage in an oral question and answer with 1 or 2 examiners. At that point, Anne, John, Pat, and I may be allowed to be present in that room or in the Zoom session, but we will not be allowed to help you in any way. But before it goes to the oral exam stage, assuming that it goes to the oral exam stage, we are going to meet again, and we will be addressing the questions and the amendments that the examiners will recommend. So do not ever think that this submission is the end of the line. There are a lot of other things that are going to work in between now and at least 3 months from the day you submit your thesis. So this is the timeline, this is the procedure that's going to happen. So please do not get all excited and jump on a plane and travel to New Zealand before you do your submissions. There's a lot of work that you need to do between now and Friday. A lot of work that needs to be done, properly done. Check everything before you submit, and please go ahead and pay attention to these things. All we are asking you at this stage is do not do any more work in terms of major editing, as all 4 of us have checked your work and we have given our stamp on it, and just follow the instructions that we have given you. How about that? Okay.
It really wouldn't be a good use of your time, Priya, to get on a plane and come to New Zealand, because you'd end up just then sort of sitting around in New Zealand waiting until the examiners had finished reading your thesis. And I think you'd be better waiting at home, honestly.
Yes, and to be absolutely honest, at the moment, the way the border security are working in New Zealand, I don't think they'll let you in before October. It is for New Zealand citizens and permanent residents who can go back and forth between various countries, but not for an overseas citizen. Please try to understand this. Although you have got a valid visa, please check with the New Zealand embassy before you take any such steps. So, so your studentship kind of comes to an end
With submission.
But the university will grant you 6 months gratis, which means free studenthood beyond that point, because you do not graduate. Do you understand that? There are technicalities around there, which we need to understand here. So yes, it is true that you're submitting, but you'll have to wait till the examiners come back to you with their questions.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's ready for submission now. I will wind up and I will put them all together. And the last 2 chapters, I will send it to Janet to work. And after I get from Janet, I will compile them and send it. Okay, sir. And can you please send the copyright form so that I add to this?
Yeah, we will be doing all the paperwork and things like that. So don't worry about that, those things. We'll take care of that. Yeah.
And the last note, sir, you've always been talking about the specificity and the predictive value, which I have not been able to give. So you wanted to have a word about it. You said you'll have a finally you'll talk about it. Do you want to say something about it?
Don't worry about it. Just whatever you've done. Let's wait for the examiner's comments. And at that point, we'll touch bases with those things. So at the moment, there's no major changes in the text at all at this stage, Priya, other than a very good and thorough last minute good read on the thesis. Check the, as we say it, cross your T's and dot your I's, and then be done with it.
Okay.
What did you say, Tim?
And the executive summary, you meant it as a paragraph. It is not divided according to IMRAD, right? It is only as a paragraph.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So over to Anne, John, and Pat.
I'm looking forward to having this submitted. And if and when you want to come to New Zealand, you can always come as a visitor. So, that's down the line, and don't worry about it.
Yes, I mean, okay, you will be a daughter of the university, so there's nothing that can stop you from coming here, but not at the moment, like not right. Tomorrow jumping on a flight and trying to come to New Zealand. It's not going to work.
Absolutely not. It's not in your interest of your health. It's not in the interest, and it may not even be, as Aaron says, it may not even be possible. So don't even think about it. Just finish. Just finish.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, knowing you, just wanted to confirm that you have not bought any tickets or anything like that, have you?
I got.
What? You got a ticket?
Yeah. But I will think about coming. I can even cancel the ticket. That is not, because I will finish this work first. I will make it submittable and then give the thought about it.
Okay. All right. Please do.
I'll make this submittable, and I will wait for Janet. Once Janet sends, I will read thoroughly, and I will contact the librarian. Margaret has been on leave. She will come today. So probably tomorrow I can ask for an appointment tomorrow. I have corrected all the documents on the references as well. I will just have to delink it, and I will ask if Margaret is available, and little tiny bit in the reference work. And after that, I will give a thought.
Okay, and make sure that your the table of contents addresses only 1 to 2 sections. Do not use more than 3. I mean, it's not like page for page that you have to build your contents. No one does that. So it's like your major headings and 1 or 2 subsections. That's it.
So you don't want the 3rd section because there are a lot of important which the reader can refer.
No. It's a book. You are typesetting a book on your own. Think of it like that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
We're very proud and pleased. Just finish.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Yeah, finish, man, finish. I mean, it's enough. We have.
It's been my 50. I realized about cancer in 2006 with my first patient, Parvatama. And subsequently, I got recognized for diagnosing. And when I had to close my clinic, I was looking at the facilities that I was providing for my patients. And in mine was not a very posh clinic. It was an average middle class clinic where I have written pre-cancer screening will be done. And people used to think I'm a quack, how can a dentist do something related to cancer? She is a quack. And people came and asked me that I can't put such things when I'm not supposed to put. I said I can do pre-cancer screening. So when I went to close my clinic because I cannot practice dentistry anymore, my hands can't hold the instruments, I was reading those facilities. And I'm so happy that after almost 15 years, this has been realized that a dentist can get involved in cancer screening. That's not a happy moment, but professionally and personally very satisfying. This has not been my academic upgradation. This has been my personal contribution to my society. So when I see that, when I see a shabby chapter, I feel, okay, it will be questioned and it will be, because for an examiner, it is only a topic of research. It is. So for me, it is a lifetime story. That is why you told I'm anxious about the chapter. Yes, I'm anxious about the chapter where I'm worried about rejections. My friends were telling that PhD cannot be awarded. They may award a master's degree. So,
anyway, we appreciate that. It's quite possible that you can be anxious, but yeah, at the moment, please focus on one thing and be done with it, please.
okay, sir.
It's
Yeah.
a very worthy piece of work, and I'm hoping that it's very important for the future of screening in India.
Yes, sir. That is what I wanted. I'm writing where in other places, opportunistic screening means where a person who has knowledge about it goes and seeks an opportunistic screening. Whereas in this case, in a dental college, where a patient has no clue of what a screening is, what he needs, a dentist is asking him and giving him rights at that point. This is a difference. So a dentist, when he asks systematically all the people in that age group over a period of time, like African countries where they started from absolutely no screening to screening in private places, from there they moved on to population-based screening for some of the cancers. This could start from no screening, no evidence for population-based screening, to an opportunistic screening that systematically applied could be a possibility of after some decades as a population-based screening. Sir, if you saw the map of India in this chapter, Anne was asking me if this is possible where places there are no dental colleges. There is no state, I think, without a dental college. So that is
Yeah, India has the world's largest concentration of dental colleges. There's a history to it, and let's not get into that. But yeah.
So that is what I feel, that this opportunistic screening, unlike other countries where somebody goes and seeks, this is example. The patient has absolutely no awareness about the risk factor, absolutely no awareness of existence of pre-cancer. But when you say that, see, this is available, if you take this, and they're ready to accept. Mm-hmm. So it is a given one. And anyway, anything given free, people are ready to accept.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
so
you've shown it. And as I said, we're both pleased and proud. Just let's finish your work first, and then let's see what you can do to make it policy in India. I'm looking forward to that very much.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. That is what I was thinking.
One step at a time, Priya. One step at a time.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot for this meeting, sir. And these were some of the things very minute, but I wanted to hear from you all that if it was a thesis to be submittable rather than my own assumption, this is what I wanted to know.
It is good.
Hopefully when it's completely finished and you've had the exam and everything, that would be the time to meet up in New Zealand That would be a lovely thing to celebrate.
Mhm.
And I would be very pleased to come to that celebration.
There we go. Yeah,
Okay, thank
there's
you.
a lot of
Thank-
things. Yeah, there's a lot to happen here. There is a convocation to come. There are many other things that you can do. So yeah, this is just one step in the process.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Probably I will attend the convocation because after my final year, I became so busy in life. I never took time to attend a convocation. I felt it was waste of time. I always in my clinic from 6:30 to 11 p.m. So probably this would be my first convocation and I will definitely attend in case I graduate. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So I will
Thank you,
stop.
Priya. We look forward to getting it.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Thanks.
okay. So all right. Before we sign off, are there other questions that you want to ask us?
Do you think I should ask anything else that's in your mind I've not asked, sir?
I don't know. That's your questions. It's impossible for us to do that. And that's the reason, because I don't think after today you'll have a chance to meet with us again like this. So it's your time to ask us any questions that we may not have answered yet.
The only thing I wanted was about you telling the predictive value, which was a major drawback in my study. And the second was to know that if it is a submitted. These were the two important things. And about reading of chapter 5, these were the things that I want. Do you have anything else that as a student, I've missed asking at this point?
Nothing from my end. So I'll give it over to John and Pat. Anything that comes to your mind.
Nothing from me at the moment.
And did you expect that I would ask something that I didn't ask?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's always a good idea to close off, with your questions. I think if we agree from now on, what you're going to do is to finish up putting it as a one-piece thesis, give it a good read, correct everything, and then make it ready for a submission to the postgraduate office. All the links and everything else. Yeah, you can access all the links. I'll send it to you anyway. So don't worry about that. And
the Turnitin will take 24 hours. So probably by Thursday or Friday, I will.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about that, because what will happen is this, that even if you submit on Friday, Turnitin kicks in and then it comes back to you. Turnitin will give you a score. Don't worry about that. We'll take care of it. But run it through Turnitin and they'll let you know what the story is. So Turnitin is not going to be a roadblock. So I will put it in. I will have to put it in Turnitin. Yeah. And it will take 24 hours. But that is not going to stop you from submission. So all you need to do is to just make it ready and then submit it. Remember, you will make 2 copies, one in Word document, one in PDF, and that's it. And email it. So even before I get the results from Turnitin, am I allowed to submit? Yeah. Yeah, you are allowed to submit. They're not going to do anything else. But what you can do is run through Turnitin now. So like today or tonight, once you have assembled everything, do not leave it till the last minute. If there is anything that pops up, then we will be helping you. But don't think that's going to be a deal breaker. Okay. Actually, I may not do it today, sir, because I will give it to Janet today. In another 4 or 5 hours, I will send it to Janet. Or by today evening, I will send it to Janet. Then after I get from Janet, I will put it in I will put it in Turnitin. Okay, yeah, whatever suits you. I checked in Grammarly. I put it in Grammarly and advanced. It gave less than 6% for some of the chapters. I did put them together. Yeah, I mean, the only time they're going to complain is if they find too many overlapping passages, but that's all right. I mean, don't worry about those things. Okay. Yeah, other than that, things should be fine. I don't see any problem. Do you think, any of you, that there seems to be any problem with that? I don't think so. I mean, the one that I've read. Because my critical analysis skill is little low.
So probably some words would have got repeated, or I have cited everything. So
Okay.
that was my only worry.
That's fair enough. I mean, don't worry about those things. We'll see. But run it, turn it in as soon as you can. So that's useful. And then once you assemble everything, give it a good read. Make sure that all comments, all inline comments, everything is taken out, deleted. Yeah. And the document is thoroughly spell checked, converted into PDF and Word, made ready for submission. And please, when you submit, send us a copy of the full thesis as is.
Sure. I
Okay.
will do it. Okay. Okay.
So final words from the three of you. I don't have anything else to add.
Nothing
I was
from
just
me.
wondering.
Congratulations,
Sorry.
Priya.
Go on.
That's right. Yeah.
Actually, it is so good to hear that from you, and because we started it from, and I was very worried whether it was up to the standards that you expected me to do.
You've done well.
You've done well. You've completed it. Now just complete the thesis and just
Okay, sir.
send it out.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
I was just wondering if we had any advice for Priya for now. Once it's sent off, there'll be a big void in
Mhm.
your life. I mean, have we got any advice for her for the next few months?
Actually, I'm so addicted to this monitor. When I'm moving out, I'm so addicted. I bought a big monitor because I was used to that in UC. I came and Canterbury United Nations, when I told them I am losing interest working on laptop, they said that no, we want to make sure that you are very comfortable. And they wanted me to conduct some programs for Pacific, and they put this big monitor. And I'm so addicted to this. Like after submission, I said that I no more want to, what will I do with this after I finish? That's a question, Pat, but
Watch some
I will
Satyajit Ray
concentrate
movies.
on it.
Watch some Satyajit Ray movies.
I will do that with my son. I'm learning new languages with him, so I will. He is also fed up. He said, "You quit UC and you be, So probably I will do with my son."
Okay.
Thank you all for this. Okay, sir.
Sure. Very nice.
Take care.
Okay. It's very good. All the best. And if there's
Okay.
anything else that we can do for you, flick us an email. And I think I will be watching your email and things like that. So I think it's pretty
Yes.
good. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Pat.
Okay.
I wouldn't have survived during the early part of the year without you at New Zealand when my hands and all were swollen, and that was a tough time. And thank you so much for all that you did to me, Pat.
You're welcome. It's been a journey for us all, I think.
Indeed. And a worthy one.
Thank you.
Yes.
I read about Professor Molly Newcomb, Polly Newcomb.
Mm-hmm.
Such a great work she has done with so many publications of 450, and all those touching the lives of people to whom it really matters.
Yes.
I could find only one which is related to my topic, where she talks about alcohol in women, whether it is the color doesn't matter, it's the alcohol that matters. So only that I could use from her research, where in India, with modernization and westernization, women want to indulge in drinking. And probably this was one reason where in the present study, the women consuming alcohol was more.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for selecting that examiner who has really created so much of impact in real world.
She's good. Okay, we'll sign
Okay,
off.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Be well, and we'll look forward to your final submission. Right? Thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
All right.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Sure.